Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're gonna be looking at Cobb Vanth, the deluxe figure from Star Wars The Black Series. Now this is a figure that I was really looking forward to because at the time of recording this video, Hasbro is actually the only company that made this guy in 6-inch form. So yeah, I was really looking forward to adding this figure to my collection. Now, right from the start, we can see the silhouette, the proportions of this guy. He really does look good. The size of the head, the length of his arms and legs, everything looks really proportionate, not just to the character, but to the human figure. Now, when we saw him for the first time, we were thinking that we will see, you know, Boba Fett. And when this guy came in the room, you were like immediately, okay, this is not Boba Fett, because he's too long, too skinny, and because of that you saw that Boba Fett's armor didn't fit him the right way. So that's exactly what we got with this figure. I think that the figure represents the character the right way. And now let's look at head sculpt a little bit closer. And in my opinion, Hasbro really did a great job here with the likeness to the actor. Great paint application, some shading on the hair and the beard. Really, from all sides, I think they did a great job. And the thing is that, as you know, this guy comes with Boba Fett's helmet. So Hasbro didn't make it in a way that it's an interchangeable head, but instead they made it so that helmet goes over the head. So that's, you know, an extra plus for this figure and for the way that Hasbro team did it, because the head didn't turn out to be too small so that the helmet can go over it. But I think that, as I said, Hasbro really did a great job with sculpting on this figure. Now, right from the start, I have to say that I really don't like the deluxe price for this guy. I mean, I know that a lot of people talked about it already, and I know that it is what it is with Hasbro's prices these days, but the way that they tried to justify the deluxe price for this guy is kind of I don't know. I mean, they said that it's all about the paint applications, that that's the main reason why this guy is a deluxe figure, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, do you think that when you look at this guy, do you see any more paint applications than what you usually get on these Black Series figures? I don't think so. I mean, even if that were the case, I would say that I would expect for a lot of small details on him to be well painted, but that's not the case here. I mean, if you would look at the details, like this belt, you would expect these small details like this here to have kind of a silver paint on it, you know. And even when you turn the figure around and you see in the back there is some silver paint missing on the belt here as well, you know. And this Boba's armor on the back is clean. You don't see it usually because the jetpack goes on, so that's not that much of an issue, you know. But it kind of feels like that we are missing some wash, like here on the holster, and maybe even on the undersuit or his shirt here, that is actually sculpted really well with all these little details, you know. But maybe some kind of a wash would really bring out those details. Boba's armor in the front is painted nicely. There is a lot of paint chipping, so the green is practically lost here, it's all washed out. These shoulder pads are painted nicely. There is also some chipping of the paint, of the yellow paint here. Same on the other side with the chipping. But I don't know, all in all, when you look at this guy, I would say that that justification of paint being the reason for the deluxe price, I don't think that that's a valid point, you know. We've seen a lot of other Black Series figures in the past that had practically the same paint applications on them, and they were not deluxe figures, so I don't know. To me, that's kind of shady, you know. We practically all know that probably the main reason is the number one, popularity of Boba Fett as a character in general, but also the popularity of The Mandalorian as a Star Wars show. There is another thing that I'm not a fan of when we are talking about deluxe sets and prices, and that is the way that it's presented in the packaging. I mean, this guy does come with some of accessories, but they are all basics. Even if you would go and make this figure as a standard release, he would still come with all of the stuff that he's coming as a deluxe, because all of the accessories are a part of the character. So what is that extra? What kind of accessory in this set would be the accessory that makes it deluxe? You know, he does come with his jetpack, and it's painted nicely, a lot of paint chipping, and it's really done nicely, you know. I mean, the rocket and these boosters here. Also, this inner side of the jetpack is blank. There is no paint in here, but it's the same reason why the back of the figure is also blank, because you won't be seeing any of these when you attach it to the figure. As I said, the jetpack looks good, and this rocket here is detachable. You can spin it around and it comes out. You should always be careful not to break this tiny little peg that goes inside, and you just easily can put it back in, and that's it for the jetpack. Now, he also comes with Boba's helmet, of course, and again we get that great chipping of the paint. His visor has a hinge on it, so it can be pulled down, and the whole helmet is made really good. Proportions are great. The helmet is not deformed, as it was the case with Return of the Jedi Boba Fett when that figure came out. I think that this is a great accessory, and it's essential to this character, of course. The figure comes also with this little blaster gun that looks like a revolver. I mean, he is the Marshal, so you know, it's kind of a Western style. And a larger rifle that is kind of wrapped on the top and here on the bottom. There is no dry brushing on these guns, so they do kind of look plasticky. They could have maybe give some wash on these straps so that it maybe brings out the sculpt a little bit more. They did a really great job on the blaster, this one and the other one, but those were all of the accessories that this figure came with. And if we go back to the deluxe price one more time, I would say that it should have come with those little jet blast effects that the Return of the Jedi Boba came with, or even the Dark Trooper from The Mandalorian, and this is actually from that Dark Trooper figure. These kinds of blast effects for the jetpack should be included, in my opinion, with every figure that comes with a jetpack. Any type of jetpack that has these kinds of little holes for the blast effects to be inserted, you know. But this is a deluxe figure, it comes with a jetpack, it does have these holes, but it doesn't come with the jet blast effect. You have the mold for these, because you obviously did it a couple of times by now in this line, and you decided not to include it. Blast effects from the Dark Trooper are not the same as the ones that came with Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, because this little notch at the top here is not the same, but it still fits this jetpack. See? And one more thing for me, I would say that because it was such an iconic moment in the show, they should have made blasting effect for this little rocket piece. Something that could be inserted in this hole, and so that we can have the effect of this rocket being launched out of the jetpack. I think that just those two little effects could have justified this being a deluxe set for me a little bit more, you know. But Hasbro decided not to do that. Okay, enough with the deluxe talk. Let's move forward to the articulation. The articulation is really good on this figure. The head can move up this far so that you could get some of the flying poses with the figure. Looks down really far, so that's good. Moves, you know, to the side, and there is actually a little bit of tilt when you combine the head and the neck, so the range of movement in the head is really good. At the shoulders, the arm goes really far. You can get that T-pose. There is no biceps swivel, but this is a soft overlay that goes over the body, and so there is a kind of butterfly joint so that his arm can move slightly across his body, so that's great. At his elbows, they do move this far, so that's better than 90. At the elbow we also have this rotation, and then the gauntlet rotates on its own as well. This hand has this in and out hinge, but this hand has that up and down hinge that is always great for characters that come with blasters. Here at the waist we have swivel and great amount of moving back, and then a little bit of crunch moving forward. That's, you know, really limited, but that's it. The legs do move forward this much, but backwards you won't get almost anything because of this butt flap over here that stops the movement right here. So the legs won't be going back. But you do have this thigh swivel here, single hinge at the knee. Down at the foot we do get a little bit of forward, but a lot moving back, and then of course we do have that swivel. So in terms of articulation, it's really nothing that we didn't see before. It's a standard for modern Black Series figures. One thing that you should probably be careful with is this arm, more specifically these tubes that are connected and glued to his arm up in here, and of course connected down to the gauntlet. Now when you try to articulate his elbow, you should always be careful that the tubes are not stuck underneath, and that's why it is great that we have a lot of swivel articulation here in the elbow. It would be best when you articulate his elbow that you move these tubes to the side so that there is less stress and less stretching, and so that will, you know, save you from breaking your figure. Now in terms of posing this guy with all of these articulation points that we saw that this figure comes with, you should be able to get a lot of cool dynamic poses out of him, because this guy really articulates great. You know, just a kind of a simple pose here, a kind of dynamic, and you have it, you know, from all sides. When you look at it, it really looks great. A little bit of, you know, body movement to one side, hands on the other side. You know, you always, when you are posing your figures, you should really always look for a kind of asymmetry, because that gives it a lot of dynamic. At least that's what I like with my poses. So now let's give him his accessories. This jetpack inserts in the back, and you'll probably have to squeeze it a little bit tighter. Now we have him with his jetpack, and if you're having trouble with these kinds of figures that have something on their backs and you have trouble with standing them because they tend to fall over because they are back heavy. I mean, you just need to find that sweet spot. That's why you have the articulation on his feet. Maybe balance him in a way that he's a little bit leaning forward. The pistol goes in the hand really easily. Here we go. Here is Cobb Vanth with his jetpack and the gun. We can storage the gun here in his holster. If you want to give him his rifle, it's the same deal, and we want him to hold it with his both hands. You can do it like this, and here we go. Here is Cobb Vanth with his rifle. And of course, the last accessory is Boba Fett's helmet. So now, here is Cobb Vanth with all of his accessories. I mean, it's a amazing figure. I'm really happy that I have it, that I got it for my collection. As I said, since it's a deluxe, I really would maybe like to get a little bit more, those blast effects or something like that, to justify the fact that the price is deluxe. Okay, so let's now move to the size comparisons. Here we have Cobb Vanth with the Black Series Din Djarin the Mandalorian and the SH Figure Arts Din Djarin. Here is Cobb Vanth with Book of Boba Fett from the Black Series and the Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett from Mafex. And then here is Cobb Vanth with 1/12 Darth Vader model kit by Bandai and Marvel Legends movie Deadpool. All in all, this is a great figure. The paint, proportions, articulation, everything looks really good on this guy. All in all, a great figure. I'm glad that this is a part of my collection, and yeah, I would really recommend it. This is a new format for me. If you are watching the channel for some time now, then you know that I'm not usually making review videos on this channel, because the channel is mostly dedicated to the posing of all of these action figures, for the most part the Black Series. But I wanted to try and review some of these relatively new Black Series figures, and just to see how it's like, you know. The posing video for this guy will be up on the channel tomorrow. I had a lot of fun with coming up with a lot of different ideas for this guy, and I really hope that you'll enjoy that posing video. So stay tuned for that, and thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.